Welcome to today's webinar, Connecting OrCAD with your PLM. Again, my name is Michelle Spang, and I will be your moderator for today's webinar. Before we get started, I would like to address a few logistics and details on the GoToWebinar platform. If you are unable to hear the presenter or see the presentation at any time throughout the webinar, please let us know in the chat window, and we will do our best to resolve any issues. Everyone's line is currently muted and will remain so for the duration of the webinar. This will be an interactive webinar with poll questions popping up throughout the presentation. Please take a moment when the poll questions are launched to provide some feedback and help us provide you with the most useful information. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please type them in the questions panel as they come up. We will have representatives ready to answer your questions directly during the webinar. This webinar will be recorded and posted on EMA's resource page. Once this is posted, we will send everyone who is registered for today's webinar an email with a link to the recording in the next couple of days. That being said, I want to thank you all for joining us in today's webinar and introduce to you our presenters, Jeff Imes and Beata Wilka. Jeff is an applications engineer for EMA Design Automation and will start the presentation off with an overview of the PLM systems and how to connect them with OrCAD. Beata, a product manager for ECAD integrations at XPLM, will then take over to show us a brief demonstration. Assuming we have time at the end of the demonstration, we will field some of these questions in a formal Q&A. Thank you for your attention, and over to you, Jeff.
Thanks, Michelle, and welcome everyone. So first of all, what I'm going to do here is go over a little bit about EMA Design Automation. So EMA Design Automation, we provide PCB design software, services, and training throughout North America. We're founded in 1989. EMA's mission is to help PCB design teams build better products faster and with less errors. EMA is really a pioneer when it comes to design data management and content acquisition for the PCB design space, providing the first component distribution integration with DigiKey inside OrCAD in 2008. We're the sole North America distributor for Cadence OrCAD and the Allegro PCB design solutions with over 3,000 active customers across all industries. Okay, so we want to provide a poll question, and this poll question is going to be, which of the following challenges have you faced due to PLM integration issues? I'll go ahead and let you guys go through these, answer, and then I'll proceed to the next slide. So ECAD electronic development systems, they're not naturally designed to work together with PLM systems. Therefore, a good designed integration is even more important. And here we can see challenges that we see from a non-integrated solution, like incomplete or inaccurate product data, inefficiency due to unnecessary search, effort, or repeated work, errors and inefficiencies because of manual data maintenance, loss of data, out-of-date part library data that could even be duplicated, risk through outdated design data, and a lack of data history for auditing and tracking, and multiple development methods which impedes collaboration. With the integrated environment with OrCAD and PLM, companies can now solve each of these challenges, and that's such as defined and automated process, PLM searching and structured content, automated BOM and file creation, all ECAD data in PLM and not in a Windows file or folder system, synchronized library data with PLM, PLM version control with historical tracking, and consistency with templates and PLM data models. Next, let's examine how a user will work within an integrated ECAD environment. The OrCAD user will access a centralized OrCAD library database to do day-to-day placement of controlled parts onto their schematic designs. The OrCAD part data can be effectively managed from a variety of content sources like Ultra Librarian with over 12 million parts, Distributor, and even robots compliance data provided by Silicon Expert. All of this is tightly integrated in the OrCAD desktop environment. Now that we have a complete solution around our day-to-day work in process, we can now utilize the OrCAD to PLM integration to provide and promote our engineering data to a corporate PLM system directly from the OrCAD desktop, and synchronize our corporate part information with the OrCAD environment. The part data can come from your PLM, internal supply chain, as well as through CIP's Distributor and Silicon Expert integrations like internal stock, corporate approved parts, compliance, and other information. With an integrated environment, companies have the capability to be able to create projects and manage their design data on a day-to-day basis in the WIP environment. Eventually, your design reviews or important milestones should allow the ECAD engineering-centric data to be pushed using an integration to the PLM system for access by others outside of engineering, like purchasing. Subsequent milestones can occur with an end of the project that results in a final release to PLM. Next, I'd like to open up polling question. And this polling question is going to be, what data types are you most interested in connecting with your PLM? Go ahead and let you answer this poll. So next, the solution EMA offers is an enterprise integrate to achieve the integration between OrCAD and PLM systems. Here are some of the functions of the enterprise integrate. Building the entire data model automatically, check in and check out directly to the PLM system right from within the OrCAD desktop, complete BOM uploading from OrCAD to PLM, even with analysis and comparison of both BOM areas. Automatically create and upload all OrCAD-related output data. Synchronize part data between OrCAD and the PLM system bidirectionally. External part management. Push document references like ROHS and other compliance objects. And through the integration, workflows can be put in place to control what data is promoted or released. There are 3 products available in EMA's Enterprise Integrate solution. That's Logic, Layout, and Librarian. The logical product allows for a logical schematic flow, like creating projects, building the data model, project check-in, check-out, redesign, and BOM upload are a few of those capabilities. With the layout product, the OrCAD user can check in and check out a project, create all required fabrication data, create PCB-related assembly data, and other PCB-based flow types. And finally, there is a librarian product and this allows a robust methodology to keep all part data synced along with an understanding of the MPI process, which is new part introduction, between OrCAD and the PLM system. Okay. At this time, what I'll do is I'm going to pass over the screen to Beata, and she will be doing a live demo.
Jeff, thank you very much for the introduction and your slides. So here you see the OrCAD Capture. I think most of you are familiar with it. And because you are familiar with Capture, we put all the integration management into a menu which is directly in Capture. You see 4 different functions which we can use to create new projects when we start a new design. We can open the design from a PLM if we want to use to do a redesign. We save data, that's the most important point, and we can synchronize parts. We synchronize the local CIS database with your PLM system. Let's start with the new project. See an additional dialog. First, we put in the project name. So today, that will be something like this. And we simply say create. What happens during create? Now, a new document in the PLM, in our sample, it's Agile A9, is created. It's the design 99, where we can, in the next step, directly attach some data. But to create a new project, we need also to define a project source. This can be out of the PLM system. For example, I can search for the design. Here I can also search for the wildcards, select this design, and use it as a source. I can use a design which is stored on my local file system as source. In both actions, we don't change the design data which are on the file system or in the PLM. We only create a copy as a source for a new project. What I want to do today is I use a template because this is a often used action. We select a sample board. For schematic and layout, we have 2 different templates and say OK. And it's directly opened in Capture. We can open the page and check the title block. And here you see our project name is automatically filled in and the number also. Here we can fill in a long list of different metadata that depends on the specific customer configuration. In the next step, we will save some data. So you did your first design actions, and in the evening you will save only your design, nothing else. This has the benefit that the latest design status is in the PLM and it is available for all other colleagues. This makes backup of your project data very, very safe. Okay, integration in the window closed, and we can go to A9 the first time. So the number was 99, and we see our description. We see the status is checked out, and we see there is a file attached, our zip file with the native design data. So now we go through our schematic, create the project, create the PCB design, and then we do a more complex save action. We want to upload PCB data and assembly data. For PCB, we also simply click Create. The integration in the background creates a document and puts the part number from A9 into this field. And what we can do, we can upload a PCB drawing and we can upload Gerber data. And in this case, we also will upload this PDF. This is a variant neutral schematic. It's a base schematic. In the third area, we have an assembly. So our design has the core design and two different variants. So I click all variants in one step and say create. Say select all and OK. Now the integration starts. So Capture comes in foreground because there's some actions done in Capture. So first, the integration collects the bill of material information and combines it with the bill of material information in the PLM. And because it's the first time we upload the bill of material, all parts are green. They are added. We see it in this reference designated view where we have one row per component. Now we can also look at the variants. And we have the quantity view where we have one row per position per part number. This bump comparison dialog I can use to check my bill of material. Later we will upload the bill of material a second time with some new data, and then I will explain you a little bit more detailed what bill of material is doing. So now the integration set up something we call a data model. Because a data model is, for all who are not really familiar with PLM, is difficult to understand. I created a slide. So we have this design container document where we already attached our zip file. We created a PCB part where we attach Gerber files and a plot. We created 3 assemblies where we can attach variant-specific information about schematic, assembly drawing, pick-and-place files, and everything the manufacturing team needs to do the assembly. These are 3 pieces, but we also do the connection, and that's the important point for PLM. We have this connection end-to-one between design container and the assembly, and the one-to-one connection between the design container and the PCB. And in the bill of material, which is part of the assembly, we do the connection to the PCB because the PCB part is the first position in our bill of material. And from the second position, all the electronic components are listed. Okay, let's check. Integration has finished. And you see there was 1 minute, 1.5 minutes. So try to do this manually. Create the data model in PLM and upload all your data. So this is really fast. And you have a defined set of data you upload. So no files are missing. So here we need to click a refresh. And now we see we have no relationships. Our data model is active. And you see our design container knows that there is a PCB, which also have attachments. We see here a PDF, and this is the artwork file. That's the first file from the folder. I click here. And that's the content of the Gerber files. You see the different artwork files, drill files, and so on. Let's go back to our design and check a variant. Let's go to the core design definitions. Here we see attachments. We have a PDF. We have zip files, and very important, we have the bill of material. Here we see all our components. the whole content of the bill of material. Okay, so now we go forward in our design process. We do a review and got the feedback. We need to change our schematic, our design. And then we go to CIP, check and say, okay, the components I need are not in my CIP database. I need to create new components. This we can do with a distributor search. For example, if your distributor is DigiKey, select it and put in a search string. So we make it simple. We say I want to have a capacitor, 0603 case, and it should be in X7R material, and search. It takes only some seconds, and we know there are 3 capacitors available at DigiKey. So we will pick this one, and CIP automatically forward us to the next slide. We have a 3D view, we have a link to the data sheet, and we can use this area to store this component in our CIS database. We say we create a temporary part, we use a capacitor symbol and an 0603 footprint, and say add. Now we created a temporary part. So now we need an additional part. For a capacitor with a different value, same case and same material, and search. So here the list is a little bit longer, so now we pick one from another manufacturer. Same action, capacitor, select the schematic part, select the footprint, and add. So, the second temporary part. But now we do an additional action. Because CIP can, using the integration which is behind, can directly communicate with the PLM. And that's really a good benefit. We click Convert to PLM. Simply click a button, and in the background, a new part is created in HR, and we directly get back the new part number. It's 101. And because everything now is complete, we can directly place this component. So I will define a reference which makes it easy to find this component. Okay. But now remember, we also have this temporary part. These are all listed here. So we go here. This was the temporary part we just created. And we also place this. And now, please remember, this temporary part has no PLM number. What happens? I will show you. We go to Integrate, Save again. This will only upload the bill of material we already have opened in the background and say OK. We again get the BOM comparison dialog. Now components are black because it's the second time we upload the bill of material. And there are no changes at this component. They are black. And we can use this filter to hide them. And now we see the capacitor, which we defined correctly, can be added to the bill of material, and the capacitor with the missing number is listed here. Now, I, as a user, as a hardware engineer, I can decide. Should I click OK to upload the capacitor 1000 to the bill of material, or should I say cancel and fix the problem with this capacitor before? In our case, we will say OK. We go to our bill of material, click refresh, and when we go to the end, we see the new part. You can click on it and have it here. And now we will edit the part because I want to show you some more benefits in library synchronization. Okay. Save. Good. We go again to our integration and click the last menu item, synchronize parts. This is the tool which we can use to synchronize the local CIS database with PLM. It remembers there was one temporary part in the list, but this we will ignore for the moment. We want to directly look for our part. So, and here we see the blue marks. This is the old name, and this is the new name we changed. And here in the middle, you see the action. So, for the name, Agile is the master. And for the webinar, we did a special configuration to show you some other benefits. Schematic part. Here you see the action is from the CIS database to Agile. So, for the content of schematic part and footprint, the CIS database means CIP is the master. So that's what Jeff said before, there's a bidirectional synchronization. Every property has its own direction. So we can simply say synchronize and everything is fine. Here we also can search with some wildcards. Here we have a longer list of different parts. And we also have the possibility to use different classes, for example, to load all resistors and so on. So, but here I will finish with the synchronized parts. I hope you get a rough idea what's possible. And I will close the synchronized parts. So now we have our design, we are ready, and we close it. We go to Agile, do a change process, because we need to do a redesign. So the change management normally is done in the PLM system, and then you as a board designer get the information, okay, change management is done, you can start your redesign. Then you go to integrate, and say open from PLM. You can put in the ID. Here you can also use wildcards. Select it and say OK. And now we have the design and we have a prefix here. That's why the radio button view is active. If I click checkout, I will do the checkout for the redesign. And I can start a normal redesign process to save it and so on. So here's my design. But what I can do also, I do open again with the same design, so that's not the problem. And now I use a radio button view. Now my project gets the preview view. That's very useful for product managers. They want to do a review on the original data, or for test equipment engineers. So they want to have the original data to create some reports and so on. So, and on every time, even when the design is checked out by you, they can download a copy. But the copy is a read-only copy. Yeah, you can get the information. And what's the most important point? If I do a save, it's forbidden. So every colleague in the company can, on every time, download your data, review the data, but they can upload changes because you are the responsible person for your design, and only for you it's allowed to upload data of your design. Okay, Jeff. So here I'm at the end of the live demonstration. It was only a rough overview, but I hope I could give you an idea of what's possible with XPLM solution integrations.
Thank you, Jeff and Beata. This is Michelle again, and before we launch the Q&A, I want to run one last poll question to get a better idea of what other webinar topics you guys would like to see us host in the future. Please take a moment to provide some feedback, and we will move on to the Q&A portion of the webinar shortly. Okay, great. Thank you guys for providing the feedback. At this time, I would like to open the floor up for Q&A. Please enter any questions you have in the chat, or the questions panel, I'm sorry, not the chat. If we are unable to address your question immediately, we will be in contact with you in the next few days. Just a reminder to all attendees that this webinar will be recorded and posted on the EMA website, as well as we will send you guys all a copy of that in an individual email. Okay, so it looks like we got some great questions here. The first question is, we use Agile PLM. Can I choose next available Agile part number from inside OrCAD?
Okay, thanks, Michelle. So if you have the right permissions, you can pick the next available Agile part number right from within inside of OrCAD.
Okay, great. Here's another question here. Can I upload my OrCAD BOM into my PLM system, which is Windchill, once my design is finished?
Yeah, integrate. It's going to support BOM upload, and that's going to be characteristic of any of the PLM systems that are supported, and it's going to include BOM analysis and BOM compare into this PLM system, Windchill. Yes.
Okay, awesome. And does this integration support custom ECAD attributes I've set up in Agile?
Yeah, so typically what happens is that's configured and defined during the implementation, but yes.
Okay, and does this flow support temporary parts?
Yeah, so in the, yes it does. So this really is going to provide full support for creating temporary parts and making sure the right people are notified during the approval process. This is around the CIP, the OrCAD CIP that Beata showed during the demonstration, and that is fully supported.
Okay, got another one here. Can I update an existing Agile BOM from OrCAD?
Yes. So you can add new or update an existing Agile BOM from OrCAD using the Enterprise Integrate that you just saw demoed.
And does each OrCAD user need an Integrate license?
Yes, so the OrCAD PLM integration, it interacts between the OrCAD client and the PLM system.
Okay. Can I manage my OrCAD work and process design data in SolidWorks PDM using this integration?
No, that's a interesting question, and we get that asked quite a bit whenever we deal with the integrations. You can, but really the PLM systems are designed for release product data management, and I think that's important to understand. OrCAD EDM is really the right solution to manage work and process ECAD design data. So. Certain milestones and releases are the best time to utilize the OrCAD PLM integration.
Okay. And will this integration work with OrCAD Capture, or do I need the CIS option?
You do need CIS in order to connect to the centralized CIS part database. And you really need that to take advantage of the library integration.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Jeff. It looks like we have a bunch of questions still filtering in. If you guys have any questions that were not addressed during the webinar, we will be following up with you on an individual basis. I will be closing the webinar now. We will send everyone a recording version of today's webinar and the slide deck within the next few days. Thank you for taking the time to join us today.